All right, so this is my sister, Jessica. She was a missionary to Africa and a bunch of other countries last year. And so I wanted to talk to her today about kind of her experience in Africa as a missionary, dealing with like the different religions and things like that. So go for it, Jessica.
Hello. So, just going into the different countries that I went to in Africa, we were located in West Africa. So, we went to Cote d'Ivoire, which is also known as the Ivory Coast. We went to Ghana, and then we went to Togo. So, in Cote d'Ivoire, when we were there, what we did was we partnered alongside people that are already there, people that are from Cote d'Ivoire, or our hosts are from Togo, just a couple of countries down. And one thing that we did was that we went to ports where truckers came in from other countries surrounding the area. So they would come from areas usually above the Sahara Desert, where a lot of people, especially Christians, really don't have access to. I guess there are a lot of people that are Muslim there in those countries. And so what this particular ministry, what they did was that when the truckers would come in with loads, and after they drop it off, they usually would wait around. It could be days, it could be weeks until they get their next load to bring it back to their country. So in the meantime, what it is that the people there did, that we joined with them, is that they would go ahead and they would evangelize to the Muslims. And so a lot of these people were Muslim because that's just what it is in the area. It would be that everything is in Arabic, so it's not that anyone necessarily was reading and understanding what it is that they were believing, but that's something that a lot of people just decided to believe, become Muslims, and follow Islam. And so then what we were doing is we were specifically going and talking to these truckers so they could eh, learn about Jesus. In they hear about Jesus when it comes to their Islamic faith, but just the truth about who Jesus is. And so we would talk a lot about how it is that they can know for sure that they're saved,
Hmm.
because that's something that many would say that they were not sure. Although there was one person that we spoke to that seemed pretty sure, but for the most part, they usually would not be
Yeah.
very sure. And so that's where we would talk about. We would start out with the beginning, with Adam and Eve and the fall and sin entering the world, and Jesus coming and being the one to completely take away that sin, and how then you could know that you were saved because of what Jesus did. So that's something where if it is that they did choose to follow Christ and they wanted to know more about him, even though they were not going to be in the country for a very long time, what they would do is that the people in the ministry that we were partnering with, they would give them like a SIM card that they could put in their phone, and it has
Oh,
the
okay.
Bible as an audiobook, so they could listen to the Bible that way.
Okay, cool. Did you find that, because what you mentioned about them not being sure about their salvation, were they like practicing Muslims, or was it like you said, just kind of like what they had inherited from before?
So a lot of it would be inherited, but they still followed certain practices. So we would, even in Cote d'Ivoire, we would hear a call go out various times a day. Um, like someone, I'm not exactly sure how it is that they were having these calls go out, but you hear the sound basically of calling them to prayer. So any Muslims that are around, you're in the marketplace and you see a rug on the ground and someone's there and they're praying. And so people just walk around them usually when it is that you see them. So it is something that they would practice in regards to at least making sure that they're doing the prayers that they're supposed to do 5 times a day facing toward Mecca.
Mhm.
So that's something that I did see that they would do. And there were some that when we were speaking to them, they did have some type of knowledge about what it is that they believe. So it really varied, between some that did, some that didn't. There's someone who is very much sure that he was saved as a Muslim and everything like that. And the people that I were with, they were like sure that he was just going to stick to what it is that he believed.
Yeah.
And other people, it sounded like they were starting to, maybe see things in a different way. And then a
Okay.
week later, it turns out he's the one who ends up deciding to follow Christ,
Hey, that's it right
after
there.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So that was a little bit about Islam. What about, did you come across anyone in Africa of any of those like indigenous kind of religions or any other type of religion?
So no, not not where it is that I was. So some of my teammates, they were higher up north in Cote d'Ivoire. We were all the way down to the south on the coast. And but higher up north, they're closer to the countries above them, and so they tend to have more influence. But then I guess also there will be in more like rural areas, not really touched by the city, not really reached by others. So there would be those that would have more of different type of maybe indigenous beliefs, but I didn't actually speak with them.
Okay, cool, cool. That's interesting though to see that different areas have different kinds of, beliefs like that influence. That was one of the things we were learning about in class that like just the influence of different religions in different areas changes certain things. Right? That part that you mentioned, this is just for me. That part you mentioned about the Arabic language that they were hearing it in, we just learned today about how the Muslims brought the Arabic language and they taught them to read and write in that. And so that's how come it had like a huge influence. And for the first time, they were able to write things down. They had never been able to write down history, but now all of a sudden
Mm,
they could. But it was just
I
interesting
see.
because that was directly involved with the Islamic influence because
Mm,
they brought that language there. But that, like I said, that was just my interest
yeah.
there, right? So then I guess what were some of the experience as a missionary in Africa? Like, what was it like?
So the thing that I found is that a lot of the ministries that we partner with, they're already doing this work. They're already going out, they're praying, they're going on prayer walks, they're handing out like flyers, tracts that have information, of how it is that a person can be saved, how it is that they can follow Jesus. They're going to the truckers, they're having this ministry, they're preaching the gospel to them, and all of this is happening. So it's something that it's already existing. So us as missionaries, it's coming alongside of something that's already there. Sometimes there is an interest that is piqued when they see people who are not like themselves.
Mm,
So they see people from America, and that's something that sometimes can tend to draw more people out. Um, into have larger crowds of people that may be willing to listen to something just because it's someone different that's telling it to them. So I think that that really is the main thing that I found, at least with the areas where we were working, because work was already being done, and they still acknowledge that they need more people. They need more people that are going to be there long term, to be there to help them, to provide funding, to just actually be bodies and hands and feet that can actually go out. So that's still something that is very much needed, but definitely more, I would say, on a long-term basis. um, and so that's what I would say, really, for at least for Cote d'Ivoire. That's what I would
okay.
say.
What were some of the things that you did as a missionary in Africa?
So so as a missionary, okay, so as a missionary, some of the things that we did in Africa, we well, there's with the truckers that we went out and we evangelized. For a lot of what I did was children's ministry, so it would be like an after school program that is basically like a Sunday school class type of thing, where it would be that there would be a lesson, there would be songs, there'd be memory verses and games and things like that. So that's a lot of what we did in Cote d'Ivoire. And we also did prayer walks. We would go around and we had like a list of things to pray for, and we would walk around the community and we would pray. In Ghana, what we did was we were teaching at a Christian school.
Mm,
So Ghana, it's different as compared to Cote d'Ivoire, because in Cote d'Ivoire they speak French. In Ghana they speak English, along with a local language as well. But everyone we were able to talk to, even if our accents are a bit different. And there's some words that we use and they use that the others don't use, and vice versa. But there we were basically like substitute teachers, or at least I was, with my 9 to 11 year olds, teaching them math. If the science teacher wanted a break, he's like, you could teach this. I'm like,
mm.
okay. And just whatever random thing, reading them a book, having them go run laps outside, whatever it is. So there we had, I don't remember exactly what class it was. It might have been like a citizenship class or something, or maybe it was specifically about religion. I don't remember exactly, but we did have a class where we were going over different religions. And so we talked about Christianity, we talked about Islam, and there was something else that we spoke about as well. But yeah, but we spoke about different religions and what it is that they believe. So again, even though it's a Christian school, we're still talking about the different religions that people in the area actually did believe. And so some other things that we did, we had what they called a crusade. I think that's what they called it. And so for that, we set up like a stage in a field somewhere, probably like a mile or so from the church, and we set up a stage and a sound system and everything like that. And so it just has the sound was projected very loud so that people in the community could hear what was going on. And so it would be messages, songs, and different things like that during that time. So when we were in Ghana, not only were we teaching, but usually in the evening time or during Sunday, during service, we would always have at least one song that we would sing. And yeah, so we would do that. And then in Togo, what we did was, well, we really just went to churches and preached.
Mm.
That's what we did. And we also went to a Bible school and we taught as well. And various different things. There was no specific agenda. It was, here suggestions of things you could teach and who wants to do it and that type of thing. So that's what we did. We went to maybe collectively, we went to tens of churches, maybe dozens of churches, maybe even like 50 different ones,
Mm.
with the group of like 25 of us that were all living in the same house at that particular time.
Cool. So is there any like thing you would say to like, I mean, you got students who might be interested in being missionaries or anything like that?
Well, I think that it's a great experience to be able to be a missionary, to go to other countries, to see like firsthand what it is that's being done in other countries, because it's very different everywhere it is that you go. And a lot of times, having that type of firsthand knowledge really can help you to know how it is that you can support what's happening around the world. What are the type of ministries that it is that you can invest in, even afterward, like when it comes to supporting in a financial way or supporting in regards to prayer, because it's something now that you have relationships, you have people that you've met around the world, and now you know what are the struggles that people are going through, what is it that is needed in these different type of countries, and now you've had that experience of actually being there and seeing it and seeing how it is that you can help. And so short term, that's definitely something that I would say that you would be able to learn from mission trips. Long term is where you could actually become a part of what's going on. And if you're staying at, if you're somewhere, if like in one specific country for like a year, then there would be much more that you would be able to do if you're actually there, because you're able to actually continue to build relationships with people, and you can tell people the gospel, but then you can also be an example in your life as it is that you're living there. So there's different things that you can get and that you can give from mission trips, just depending on the length of time that you're actually involved.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica, for sharing that with us, a little bit about your experience as a missionary in Africa. And then I guess we will see you next time when we go to another country and have to talk about that.
Sounds good.
All right, bye.
Bye.